Zuriel Olowe, also known as the Healing Educator, is a lawyer. She was the team head at the Family Law Department, a certified community mental health trainer, an emotional intelligence specialist, a crisis intervention trainer, and an Own Your Essence coach. She's a team bonding facilitator, the author of Owning My Essence, Creating Awesomeness, Birthing Healing, Releasing the Hold of Emotional Pain. She helps individuals who have experienced emotional pain find healing so they can experience wholeness and attain emotional bliss and harmony. She's the master practitioner of neuro-linguistic programming, helping individuals who are battling with the thought patterns that have disempowered them from defeating behavior to empowering and enhancing the behavior. Her job as the healing educator is to take individuals through an intentional and mind-enhancing Own Your Essence journey and intervention techniques where they can holistically and consciously start creating the awesomeness that promotes the emotional stability that helps them live, walk in peace, bliss, harmony, and wholeness. They can work with their relatable solutions and they can create their intentional pathway that is measurable to their desired outcome. As a team bonding coach, she has worked with several organizations, helping them create synergy, bonding, and team spirit through teamwork and team building activities that have helped the staff to heal from both conscious and unconscious emotional pain. She's a faculty member at the Institute of Family Engineering and Development and also a member of the faculty at the Emotion City. She's a trainer, conference speaker, and the founder of Own Your Essence Academy. Her creative and unique personalized enhancing power language code is I am owning my essence and creating awesomeness. Guests in the house, let us give a very warm welcome for the very first time to Wife Gist, Zuriel.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening good evening if you are in Africa. Good morning, good day, wherever you may be joining from. I so thank you for having me. Thank you, wife Gist, for having me. I do not take this invitation for granted. I celebrate every one of you. I honor every one of you here today. And I said, thank you. You know, when I got the topic for tonight or today's meeting, and I saw against all odds, I basically laughed. And why did I laugh? I laughed because the first thing that came to my mind was, oh, okay, I basically survived 2 times attempted suicide. I was formerly addicted to cigarettes in my secondary school. Oh, and what else? Okay, I eventually became a lawyer and so many other things. But you know, one striking thing that happened this night was when Tosin asked, who is that person, or who comes to mind when you think of everyone or anyone who has gone or done amazing things against all odds. And I saw people putting down names of other people. Yes, Barack Obama. Yes, Jumoke Adenowo. Yes, everyone. Yes, Elon Musk. Yes, Bill Gates. Yes. But one thing is, if you forget that you as an individual, you are also against all odds, you would think someone else has the validity of life and success more than you. So the very first point of call is when you think of someone who has done amazing things. And like I would always say, I'm holding my essence, I'm creating awesomeness. The first thing or the first individual that should come to your mind is you. As a child growing up, I grew up in a home that was actually filled with love, amazing love, and every other thing. But at a point, the very individual who was meant to protect me, who was meant to pamper me, who was meant to be the father figure role model, meant to be my very first teacher, my very first mentor, my very first guardian, my very first boyfriend, basically turned his back on us. So he practically walked out. And what happened? It was from one storm to another storm in life for me. It was from one pain to another pain for me. It was from one challenges to another challenge for me. And the very first awareness, conscious awareness for me was when I was 8. At the age of 8, I got to realize that, oh, the father figure is not here. Because you see every other child or every other, your cousins, your family friends, your classmates, their parent comes, you know the one whose dad is dead. When you ask about, how's your dad? You say, oh, my dad is dead. Oh, my daddy traveled. Oh, my dad is back. And they ask me, where is your dad? And there is no explanation for that. There's basically no explanation because the adults in my life didn't even give me an accurate explanation. Were they protecting me? Absolutely, they were protecting me. But unfortunately, what they were not aware of at that point in time was it was causing an emotional damage. It was causing me a mental torture. And at the age of 10, the first thing that came to my mind was to end it all, was to practically take my life. And yes, it did not go through. I tried it the second time. The second time it almost went through, but I thank God that I did not go through. Because right now, I love my pounded yam and egusi soup. And yes, it didn't go through. And the turbulence were much. The turbulence, it got to a point that in secondary school, we created what you would call maybe like a group of girls. And maybe you just call them, oh, maybe what people may call secret cults today. But we were not that. We were just children who aligned together because of what we had in similar. Children who aligned together because each and every one of us had this emotional turmoil. But somehow along the line, we were able to, I personally was able to pull through. Did I pull through successfully? No, I did not pull through successfully because at that point in time, I had already started experiencing mind disability. And I'll say to individuals, if there's any disability, the most dangerous and the most damaging disability any individual would ever have in life is not your physical disability. It's what I call the mind disability. Because the moment you begin to experience the mind disability, it becomes impossible for you to challenge anything or anyone that has the capacity to make life miserable for you, or anything that wants to just take life out of you, anything that says to you, success is impossible, anything that says to you, you'll be defined by what you've experienced in life, anything that says to you that it is impossible for you to become that which you want to be. And most importantly, anything that shuts your ability to have an amazing critical thinking of yourself. Anything that makes you look at yourself in the mirror and rather than seeing a human being, you're seeing a failure. You're seeing one who do not have the capacity and ability to move from point A1 to point B. You're seeing one who is comfortable in his or her zone, in that zone that cannot enhance you, in that zone that cannot nourish you, in that zone that cannot empower you. So what was one of the very first things I did when I noticed that I was basically having mind disability? Yes, I have a very amazing mom, an amazing mom who went extra length for me. In fact, she went extra length for her children. I would say God and my mom are my two major flex. After God is my mom. Because I would not be standing here today if not for God and her. She practically did not give up on me. Did I have people who gave up on me? Many people gave up on me. People you thought would be there for you. Sometimes I do not blame people when they give up on us, because some people are not even aware of the intensity of the pain or the intensity of the challenge you're going through. They're not even aware of the fact that you're broken internally. All you're doing physically is you're trying to thrive. Some people are not even aware that sometimes you are battling. You know, people that say that there's a tendency that the storm you're going through, there's a tendency that every time you try to pick up yourself, there is always a brick wall you're eating, would make you begin to unconsciously compare yourself with someone else. Now, you would see someone else that is looking as if the person is doing amazingly well. Yes, the person is doing amazingly well. But because you are also not even aware of the story of that person, what you begin to do is you begin to dislike yourself, you begin to hate yourself, and you begin self-damaging patterns, which were one of the things that basically affected me at that point in time. I got tired of everything. And I celebrate my vulnerability. I always say to people that in your vulnerability is your strength, and in your strength is your vulnerability. Sometimes when I hear people say to me, be strong, or I hear people say to other people, be strong, receive strength. You know, I jokingly will say to them, please enjoy that vulnerability. Please be weak. For once, be weak. For once, accept that weakness that you're experiencing at this moment. Because in experiencing that weakness that you are experiencing at that moment, there's a very tendency that you become intentional about you. There's a very tendency that you put full focus on you. Because sometimes you always want to stay strong, which is amazing. But in staying strong, there's an unconscious facade we are also building. That will come out, you just want to stay strong for everybody. But when you are alone and you're just alone in your room, maybe you get home, you're trying to remove your clothing and something just strikes your mind. It looks as if you're a failure. And something strikes your mind, that your exam you failed. Another thing strikes your mind, you are ugly. Another thing strikes your mind, in the next 5 years, where will you be? And before you know what is happening, you're breaking down, you're crying, and you go to bed wet your pillow with tears. The next day you wake up and you use the makeup all over again. And that is my story. I was looking very strong. I would come out looking very strong for people. I'll come out giving my strength, giving my all for individuals, for family members, for friends. However, I was a broken pieces. I was a broken pieces that kept breaking the pieces with my own self-limiting patterns, with my own self-destructive patterns. Until I entered the university and I had to start picking myself up. I met other people, I met other classmates, I met other friends who basically were in the same ship that I was in, who were also experiencing the same thing I went through, or I was experiencing at that point in time. And I was able to sit with myself one day. I remember sitting in class, late night reading, and I asked myself this question, Zuriel, who do you want to be? And the first thing that came to my mind was, oh, I wanted to become a lawyer. Of course, I was already in the university reading law, but I knew that I wanted to become much more than a lawyer. I wanted to become someone who would impact lives. I wanted to become someone who would become a book for other people to read. I wanted to become someone who would be able to say our stories and the things she experienced without shame, without fear. Because for me, I realized that it was me against me at that point in time. And I said to myself, it has to be a you for you and not you against you. The world can be against you. Life challenges, life events can be against you. The moment can be against you. The month can be against you. Seasons can be against you. But when you understand the power that you have inside of you, when you understand there is a bigger strength inside of you, not of your human strength, but of God's strength and God's ability and God's divine, intentional, deliberate works for you, then you would align yourself on that path. Was it easy? No, it wasn't easy. I went, oh, failed some exams, passed some exams. In my final year, I failed an 100 level course, which wasn't even a law course. It had nothing to do with law. It was a computer science course. And I think till now, anything beyond 1 + 1 will give me a headache. So you ask me 2 + 1, I may have to count my fingers to answer that. Now, I was very good with maths in primary school, extremely good with maths. I would either get the first position, second position, or third position in maths. But trauma basically affected me at that point in time. And I just realized that, oh, I basically declined academically. I did not go to read law because I felt it was the easiest of course. No. I read law because I felt, oh, I wanted to defend vulnerable people. In fact, my biggest reason for reading law is because I wanted to sue my dad. That's my biggest reason. I read law because I just wanted to sue him and make him pay for everything. And yes, it was difficult, yet I pressed on. Yes, it was painful, yet I learned in my journey to love me. Yet it looked as if the rocks were pressing me. Yet it looked as if the grave was opening. I desired death. Sometimes I go to bed and I say to myself, don't wake up. But the grave refused to open. I did some very dangerous things. However, somehow I was certain I was not going to be swallowed up. Somehow I had a thing in me that said, this girl, you'll not be consumed. I was hurting deeply. But somehow, I had soft spots for individuals. I became empathetic towards other people, not towards myself. And I built myself. I built the resilience to take pain. I could soak in pain into my body. That if anything was happening to me, if I was feeling pain, yeah, you would not know, because I built myself over time to be able to soak in pain and to be able to turn pain into pleasure. Until I realized it wasn't paying me. I realized I was causing more harm to myself than to any other person. And I looked at the amazing people around me that was showing me love, that gave me love. And I said to them, if not for me, then I should do it for these people. Number one, I should do it for my mom. I should give her a thank you gift. And I pressed on. And I actually did focus on my studies. I focused on my academics. And I came out. I remember my call to bar. I was more excited for my mom than for myself, because I felt, oh, this certificate, Nigerian call to bar, you're giving 3 certificates. And one of the certificates is as big as this. And I felt, oh, all these certificates are for her. But I had this passion to go defend people who didn't have anyone to defend them, to work with those who had gone through challenges, to just get justice for people. And my desire for getting justice for people was coming from my place of pain. It wasn't coming from my place of wholeness. And yes, for me. But somehow, I realized that I was not built to be the first point of individuals' pain. I realized that I was not built to take people to the prisons. I realized that I was not built to be the one who would sit in court and watch marriages fall apart. Despite getting results for some people who had experienced the most traumatic, the most painful domestic violence and abuse in their home, and helping them through their divorce proceedings, and also helping some of them getting properties, getting money from their spouse. I realized that wasn't who I was built to be. Was I enjoying those moments? Somehow I was enjoying those moments. But somehow I came to the realization that it was my pain that was pushing me. It was my brokenness that became a drive for me. And I need to rediscover myself. And one of the first things I did was to tender my resignation. I was already the head of family department. And I realized, no, I could not do this anymore. And I had to do a 360-degree change in career. And today, against all odds, to the glory of God, I can boldly say, I've helped save through God being my help, saved over 50 marriages. Oldest being a couple who's been married for over 50 years. And youngest being a couple who was married less than a year. And what was the first thing basically I did? And I think that one of the most important things that one needs to understand is accepting the reality of what has happened, or accepting the reality of what is on the ground. Sometimes in trying to avoid what is on the ground, or what you're going through, or what you're experiencing, you tend to stir the water more, and you go on a blame game. I could have sat down for the rest of my life and keep blaming my dad. Someone would ask me, did I ever forgive him? Absolutely, I forgave him. Absolutely. Absolutely, I forgive him. Accepting the reality of what is on the ground, accepting this is the situation, this is what is happening. Because living in denial of what is happening or what you're going through is you either unconsciously or consciously deepening or pushing the days of suffering and days of pain, just expanding and extending it. Then be compassionate towards yourself. I think someone called Joyce Meyers. If there's anything I've seen her practice for herself, is being compassionate towards herself. And that is one of the biggest lessons for me, being compassionate towards yourself. It can be easy for you to be compassionate towards other people. Hey, yeah, how are you? I hope you're good. Giving them your shoulders, even though when you are breaking down, even though when you're sinking. The truth is, the way you give other people your shoulders to cry on, you may not get the same from other people. But learning to be compassionate towards yourself, learning to be kind towards yourself is one of the most enhancing, nourishing thing you can give to yourself, gift you can give to yourself. Because what it will do for you at that moment is it will take you from the place of mind disability to mind ability. It will crush everything that has the capacity to make you feel miserable when things are not going the way you've expected them to go. When you've said to yourself, I've prayed, I have fasted, and it looks as if faith is going. It looks as if, but the Bible says, if my faith is as little as that of the mustard seed, I can move this mountain. I have even increased my faith from that of the mustard seed to the level of the mountain, yet it looks as if this mountain is not moving. Then forgive yourself. You can't practice tenacity when you refuse to consciously forgive yourself. Sometimes it is our own personal mistakes that makes it look as if things are not working for us. Sometimes it is what other people have done to us. And I say to people, you cannot but not forgive others. You cannot but not forgive. And I've had several people ask me, why do you expect me to forgive? Why do you want me to forgive? I can't forgive this person. Do you know what this individual did to me? And my response will always be, you're not forgiving that person because of that person. In fact, you're forgiving because of you. Because in forgiving this individual, you're saying to yourself, I refuse to allow you hold my emotions, control my emotions, determine mood, determine my success, determine who I become. I refuse for the fact that even when I do not see you, when somebody calls a name that is your name, even when you're not there, my mood changes immediately. When you call my father's name, if you're my best friend and you mistakenly pick a call and you call that name, I'll walk out on you. Stop validating the events. So I say to people, failure is not life itself. Failure is the process in life that takes you to that destination. Failure is simply saying to you, go back to your drawing board. Failure is simply saying to you, is there something that you're not supposed to do that you did? Failure is simply saying to you, is there something you did that you've not done that you're meant to do? Failure is not life. Failure is only a process to the life that you want to live. You become a failure the moment you look at yourself and say to yourself, I have a certain vein, does not mean is not light. Stop validating the events. Just stop validating the events. Stop validating the events.
Okay, sorry about that. I think we lost our speaker just for a moment there. There are some technical issues, and we're hopeful that she would be able to rejoin us, in a couple of minutes. The technology happens all the time. We have no control over that, but I hope we're getting really blessed by this message that she's passing on to us. And I think it was so profound for me that she said that, when we're thinking about names, thinking about people that did, excellently well and pushed through the odds to achieve something. We are all testimonies of that, looking. Okay, I think she's back now and ready to join us again.
Back. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Welcome back, Ma.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Thank
it's a
you.
little glitchy, but I
Apologies.
think it's
This is what
better
our
now.
Nigerian network does to us. Okay. So I was talking about people who keep validating a certain event. So this is what I say. When you keep validating disempowering events, when you keep validating the pain, the frustration, the shame, what you're doing is you're putting handcuffs into your hands. You're chaining yourself and you're bounding yourself. Now, the thing is, no one will break that chain for you. No one. No individual will break that chain for you if you are not ready to have the chains broken. Against all odds, it's not magic. It just is not magic. It does not happen because you went to bed and you woke up. Against all odds means that you're ready to heal. So that when success eventually comes, you do not by yourself, of yourself, in yourself, or outer yourself, destroy it. Against all odds happen when you are intentional, when you are deliberate, when you are mindful, when you're conscious of you. When you're conscious of you, understanding that you are the biggest gift that God has put on the face of this earth. And because you have the DNA of God, even the devil tried God now. So who are you that challenges will not try? Even the devil tried God. Before he was sent to the face of the earth, he tried God in heaven. He tried to wage war. You are created in his image and after his likeness. So why do you think challenges will not try you? Why do you think pains will not come? Why do you think your boiling water will refuse to want to cool down? Why do you think the storm will not want to take you away? I say to people that the reason we have weather seasons, so in Nigeria, you have we're in the rainy season right now. You have the rainy season, you have the sunny weather, you have the harmattan. These are seasons. And the So I say to people that the parable behind seasons is for you to also understand as an individual that there are seasons in your life you need to go through. How those seasons will start, you cannot say, but you can determine how it will end and who you become after those seasons end. So people would say there is light at the end of the tunnel. I say no. As you're walking in that tunnel, the light at the end of the tunnel is already pouring its rays into that tunnel. It's already pouring its rays. So you are seeing that there is a ray. As you're walking in the tunnel, you're seeing there's a ray of light. That is exactly that is exactly the same way the odds in our life. But because there are times you are not even patient to see that this hot water can actually cool down when I remove it from the fire, when I remove it from the burning gas, when I remove it from the stove and I put it down. But what some of us want to do is you expect the water to cool down while it is still on the gas, while the light is still on. No. And that is where healing must come to play. Healing emotionally, healing mentally, healing spiritually. I did not fight with God. I was never angry at God. But I fought with the church. And I stepped away from the church for some time. But never, ever did I fight with God. Because for one, I understood the power of God. And I understood that He's with me and will go with me. So there is no gainsaying in saying that I'm fighting. No, I didn't fight with God. I fought with the humans in church. Then you must be willing to grow. Against all odds does not happen when you're not willing to grow. Growth comes when you understand that you need to put fertilizer inside of any plants, tend the plants, remove the weeds from around whatever you're planting, and if you want it to grow well. There are times you would have to leave the weeds, because pulling out the weeds means that you also be pulling out what you have planted and allow them to grow together. And in growing, you are focusing on you. In growing, you are focusing on you. Understanding how you understand growth process. Becoming aware of what your own personal growth process has to be. Yes, it's good to look at other people, appreciate what they have done, appreciate who they have become, or try to understand their process, try to understand how they became who they are today, try to understand, but never, ever go into an unconscious battle of comparison or a conscious battle of comparison. Because when you do that, the odds would never, ever go. Because that is you saying, being against yourself. Enjoy every moment. Enjoy every moment. Celebrate those moments. Now, so if you are not mindful of you, you see, after against all odds, after the odds have disappeared, after you have entered into your place of bliss, like I would always say, your place of bliss, your place of harmony, the place where you are meant to enjoy yourself. This is what will most likely happen. Because you have been in a season that is alien to peace, that is alien to bliss, that is alien to harmony, to joy, to laughter. You will on your own shatter it. you will on your own break and destroy it. So for each moment that you're in, you're enjoying those moments, because that is one time you would know that you're not hating yourself. And please, when you do not meet a specific goal, it's okay. It's okay. When you don't meet a specific goal, it's okay. It's okay. It's absolutely okay. Sometimes the goal may not even be for that moment. The goal may be for next year, maybe for 3 years to come. But it's for you to ask yourself, what next? What should I do next? You can't keep fighting yourself. You can't keep fighting the world. Challenges will always be around us. We'll always go through challenges. We'll always experience challenges in life. But your mind ability, praying, even in that storm, choosing to thrive, even in that place that is looking as if it's not going to grow, choosing to thrive despite all. I chose to thrive. I deliberately, intentionally chose to thrive. But if there's one thing, and one of my biggest secrets so far, is practicing the act of silence. I've come to understand the act of silence, and I've come to enjoy the act of silence. Because in practicing the act of silence, for me at that point in time, was to say I am connecting to a higher power. And what is that higher power? God. And as I'm connecting to the higher power, I am hearing from him. And I'm running with whatever he says to me, not relying on my own ability, not relying on my own capacity, but choosing to be prayerful. Loving me beyond. Sometimes some people can say it's selfishness, but loving me to preserve me, to protect me, to always celebrate me. So let me do this. I don't know what anyone may have experienced. I don't know the odds you may have experienced in life or you're still experiencing. I don't know the challenges. I don't know that thing that is looking as if I'm going to swallow you. Or that thing that swallowed you, but it has actually thrown you out, but yet it's looking as if it's coming back. Can we just quickly do this? Can you hug yourself? Wherever you may be, just hug yourself. Can you just hug yourself? I want to just breathe in, taking a deep breath, breathe out, taking a deep breath. But if I say you should breathe out, I'll say, can you breathe out from your mouth? Taking a deep breath, breathe out, taking another deep breath, breathe out. Then I want you to think of one thing that you thought, of that thing that you thought should have swallowed you, or you expected that it was going to swallow you in life, or just take you out. I just want you to think of it. Think about that thing. think about it, and I want you to imagine that as you're thinking about it, you're blowing a balloon. That you're blowing a balloon. When the balloon gets to the size of how you feel that that thing is as big as, I want you to stop. I want you to release the balloon. So you need to remove one hand from the hug that you're hugging yourself and release the balloon. Just let the balloon go into the air. You can see that the balloon did not burst. It is still one piece. I want you to blow another balloon in your mind now. Blow the balloon. Stop. I want you to get a pin. Or just imagine a sharp object and burst the balloon. Boom! So let me say this to you. The first balloon is still very useful because all you did was to let out the air in the balloon. The second balloon you cannot use anymore because you used a sharp object to burst it. Against all odds is the first balloon. And despite the pain, despite the challenges, despite the frustrations, despite the shame, despite the abandonment, despite anyone who ever said to you, nothing good can come out of you, despite anyone who gave up on you, despite anyone who turned their backs on you, despite anyone who refused to believe in you, despite you not even believing in yourself sometimes, you did not break. You did not shatter. You're not in pieces. And that is why you're here today. That is why you're able to join this webinar today. That is why you have been consistent with Wives Gists. That is why you love not just yourself, but the people around you, your family members. And that is why you're still pushing through. If you were to be the second balloon that you busted, you would not be here today. Because for the second balloon, you can't use it anymore. So what you would do is you throw it into the dustbin. No one is going to throw you into the dustbin. You're not even going to throw yourself into the dustbin. So no one is going to throw you into the dustbin. So I celebrate every one of you. I honor every one of you. I said, thank you for owning your essence. Thank you for creating awesomeness. Thank you for choosing to try. Thank you for not allowing your past to hold you down. Thank you for allowing those wounds to heal. A wound that does not heal will keep bleeding. And when you lose too much blood, you go into shock, there's a possibility of death. Thank you for taking care of that wound, whether emotional or a mental wound. Thank you for not discarding yourself away. because the true against all odds is every one of you that is here today. So when you think of anyone who has actually fought, won, and is striving, owning our essence and creating awesomeness, say to yourself, I am the one. Because I would always say that to myself.
I think we lost you again. Wow, this has been so awesome. So awesome, because we're going to wait for her to rejoin, because so many people might have questions for her, but this has been therapeutic even for me. Understanding that sometimes we just have to let go. And I think my awesomeness game now is on the next level. Now I know I'm awesome. I know that I am enough. I know to be kind to myself. Because just as I was saying before, a lot of people kept, even for me, for a minute I was thinking of names. It didn't occur to me to think of myself. If you were raised in Nigeria and you wrote JAMB a couple of times before you got into the university, that's you pushing through the odds, because you didn't give up. 1,001 things come our way, even in our daily lives, with our kids, at work, challenges, but we're still here, putting it all together, and pushing through the odds. So yes, I think we should really celebrate our awesomeness, as mothers, as women, as wives. A lot of things need our attention, and we cannot even afford to slack, but we're holding it together. We are here, so we're awesome. I hope you'll take a minute to celebrate yourself today, and give yourself that hug again. And so many things just there's too much to unpack in this message. Being kind to yourself, being compassionate to yourself is something that I feel like a lot of us might need to actively work on. We are very empathetic towards others, but we're very hard on ourselves when we make some errors. Sometimes we have to allow ourselves, to make some little mistakes, and then we can forgive ourselves so that we can learn from it, and then we can push forward. But if we sit down and dwell on the mistakes or things that hold us back, then we find ourselves dancing around in circles, allowing life to happen to us without us really making those moves to make better decisions. And then she said something that struck me. I think we have her with Hannah. Ma, you're welcome back.
Thank you. I'm enjoying you. So please keep talking.
Oh, no, it's not my turn yet, so I would allow you round up, and then when it's time for questions, we can take it here and there. No, but like I said, we enjoyed the
No
therapy
problem.
session, and now I know that I'm awesome, more awesome than I think. So thank you so much, Ma. Okay,
Did you say
so
something?
oh, sorry. Yes, I wanted you to round up, if in case you haven't done that already, so then we can take questions and answers.
I think it's okay. I think it's okay where I stopped.